Hits for the pound.
Yeah, this is how we do it in the Central Colors, man. We got 40 ounces, Old English, rag tops, 6'4" Impalas, and bikini girls, man. This is how we do it on the West Coast. San Diego, San Francisco, Los Angeles. But don't forget about the Central Cali, man. Please don't forget about the Central Cali. Yeah, get 'em.
It's another sunny day in the state of California. Low rider palm trees and G's that put it on ya. This ain't a negative, we speaking ebonics. Rank talk, candy paint on D's with hydraulics. Baseball hat with the sticker on the brim. Don't let the sun blind your sight, cause things can get grim. But I'm not here to talk about banana clips and guns. We're going back to Cali and we gonna have some fun. A West Coast domination, that's
And welcome back to Two-Face Entertainment Podcast. I am your host, Fred Saluda, out here in Monterey County, also known to the world as the Salad Bowl, also known as the Salinas Valley. To the people in LA, we are north. To the people in San Francisco, we are south. Right smack in the middle, best of both worlds. Don't forget about the Central Cali. Anyhow, folks, today it's a special show for you guys today. This one, I'm not going to talk all the way through until the end, guys. It'll cut into something different. But first and foremost, my sincere condolences to the Martinez family. We lost a local legend out here in the Salinas Valley in Monterey County. Those of you who may be familiar with the car show circuit, be it lowriders, hot rods, whichever way, right? Anything vehicle related when it comes to custom vehicles. Mr. Nick Martinez was the man that did a lot of the modifications to these cars. We're talking the, reverse doors, reverse trunk, tilt front ends, so on and so forth on the vehicles. Very, very talented man. I got to see his work. I got to see him work. I've been to his home. I met him back in, I want to say between 91 and 93, somewhere around that time. But, and granted, being at his home and just, I met his family, so on and so forth. So my sincere condolences to the Martinez family. With that being said, guys, this man was an incredible man. An incredible man. He, you know what, throughout the years, even after that, every time I ran into him, I it was always a must to go talk to him. When I attended the car shows, I would always, I'd run into both of his sons, and they I'd be like, hey, well, where's your dad at? And then I'd always make sure that I made it a point to go say hello to Nick as well, go say hi to him, and before the day was over at the show, and he was either under the canopy on the chair, and relaxing, or probably just talking to somebody. He was a very well respected man in our area. With that being said, guys, one of the most notorious vehicles that he modified is the George Torres owned vehicle, Loco 64. That when he did that vehicle, that catapulted Nick into a whole new thing, because people started to really, his name started to circulate a lot. And that was around, ballpark figure, around the time I met him, and just the modification, the modifications alone on the vehicles, and not only that vehicle, on every vehicle he touched. I mean, the guy would, like I attended the service, and just the stories I heard, which you'll hear what his sons have to say on here. I'll put the video in after this. But I didn't want to touch on anybody else's personal stories. So, but just an incredible man. One thing I will say that I did learn about Nick that I wasn't aware of, that he was a Vietnam vet. But beside the point too, though, man. Like I mean, the guy, he just had a natural talent and a true passion for what he did. For what he did, and what he instilled into his sons and his family. And those of us around him too at the time that we got to learn from him. I'd run into him, and it'd be sometimes years in between. I'd run into him at Home Depot. I ran into him the last time. I ran into him at Walmart, and it was always, you know what? And it was always a great thing to see him, because I'm gonna speak for myself. Because for me personally, I know the caliber of this man. I know the caliber of this man. But I never saw him as like, oh yeah, this guy, this. No, I also miss Nick, man. He's a friend of mine. Shake his hand, give him a hug. Just a very well respected man. That's the thing. One of the most memories that I have, not the most, but one of the memories that I hold is giving this car the win at a show when I didn't know it was his vehicle. But I was like, I saw it and I was just like, Jesus, this is immaculate, Duh, I should have known. Hey, I mean, just his work. And you'll see his vehicle in here, and I will post a picture of he and I that we took. And you know what? I've been asked too, like, hey, you know what? Well, we're glad you got to take a picture with them and stuff, because we never go around taking pictures of each other, with stuff. We just run around with people, and that's pretty much it. This happened to be a favor to a friend of mine. Shout out to Greenfield Towing out in Greenfield, California. I presented the award for them on their behalf. My choice of vehicle, and it happened to be Nick Martinez's vehicle at the show. I had no idea it was his. So we took the picture, and you know what? Looking back at stuff, guys, I feel like I consider myself, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that. Because he'll forever hold a special place in my heart, and that along with a lot of people that I've lost in this lifetime, people, and I'm talking about people that I'll never see again in this lifetime, that have passed on from here on, whatever your belief is. I'm not going to get into that, but I'm grateful because it's true what they say. A picture, tells 1,000 words. It could be a picture to anybody else. Like, oh, okay, cool. But unless you know the history, unless you know the true passion of someone, what that person brought to the table, what you learn from that person, what you admire about that person, it speaks volumes, and that continuous volumes to what it speaks about Nick Martinez. In my life, what I saw from it, and you know what, going back to the Loco 64 vehicle, that car went on, and I was at Las Vegas along with Nick was there, his sons were there, the car club was there, their car club, Street Life, and the car club from Local 64 is Street Life. And, I was at that show, and I remember I caught it on video, and I carried on my friend's camcorder, the big one, the old school ones with the VHS tape that looked like I worked for a news anchor and stuff, but or a news company, whatever. But anyhow, TV news, whatever. You guys know what I'm saying. Anyhow, but I remember I caught it, 1992, Las Vegas at the Sands Hotel. The show was held there. George Soros came home victorious, 1992, lowrider car of the year. and he continued, was it 92, 93, 94, and then there was, the rest is, when 95 we went into a little bit of politics, but we won't get into that. That's beside the point. The point is that this vehicle won continuous wins. Again, thanks to everybody, Rod Powell who painted it, the modifications done by Nick, down to the steering wheel guys that his son drew on a paper, and Nick, fabricated. He was a fabricator. He fabricated it into metal, gold plated it, put it on the car, put a sunroof in it. It just continuous. I mean, these are the stories I could only tell you. It's one of those things that unless you really have a passion or really admire something, you would understand. And I know for a fact that's no easy test to do. So, a lot of credit, not just for his talent, not just for his incredible passion, but for what he instilled into his family, for what he did for a lot of us as a community, a vehicle community, I would say, and who he was as a person. And I think that when we go to car shows and so on and so forth, regardless of whatever car club it is, it could be a different car club and stuff. None of them are rivals in a sense, as sometimes, I'll say it like this, media tends to portray. There's a lot of love and respect from different people from different car clubs and so on and so forth out here in this area in Monterey County. And so on and so forth. I mean, we go as far as to, LA and stuff like that. There's a lot of love and respect. Shout out to all the car clubs. When they've come up here, we've gone down there, so on and so forth. I've made a lot of friends within that circuit. But again, it all goes back to everything else. Again, when you look at modifications on vehicles and so on and so forth, and now, I mean, to me, I'll always think of Nick, I'll always think of Nick. But you know what, guys, I'm gonna cut short here. I will go because I did attend his service, and we'll go into that at this point, guys. I won't be doing a signing out today. After the video's over, I'll show you guys the little bit of video of the service where his sons talk about, give him his eulogy or whatnot, and that's it. It's for you guys to look at. And I just wanted to say these words that are non-written. They're just coming from my heart. I just want you guys to know what Nick continues and will continue to mean to us. Okay, with that, guys, we'll go into the rest of the video here of from the service, so on and so forth. There'll be a little mini slideshow, and until next time, this is Fred Tuluda at Two-Face Entertainment.
car shows, to just going to his house eating red licorice and drinking 805s. The dude was a real one. He was a real one, and we kind of thought about that. Recently, we were talking about my dad and what he was to different people. I mean, all the way down from elementary school to high school, my dad would let people into the house. A couple of us lived with him. They weren't even family. We'd welcome him in and live with him. We got a couple of homies that are here right now that have actually lived with my dad and my parents. That they just opened the doors for him. And guys that I didn't even know they were hanging out with my dad. They're like, yeah, dude, I talked to your dad last week. I had a couple of beers, and I had no idea you guys were that close. But my dad would just call guys, Tony, Alex, these guys, and I'm like, I had no idea you guys were that tight. And my dad was that kind of guy, right? So if you were willing to learn something about cars, you were willing to listen to a man talk, my dad always had an open door policy, right? That was the old man. And I don't want to pontificate up here and talk about everything my dad's offered to everybody, but if you take a look at the room that we're in right now, and you're 80 years old, and you got this many people gathering around for you, this is pretty incredible, because I know at 80 years old, there's a lot of people that probably don't have this many people that care, that remember, that have freaking daily jackets hanging up on the wall. That's pretty incredible right now. I have a lot of brothers, Sabor and Nutrin, Crusaders, Free Life, just instigators, all these guys that have called themselves brothers and looked at my dad. If you look at the urn, I mean, I can go on and on about all this stuff. Eddie and Koff and all these guys that have offered their help and the way they looked at my dad, it's pretty incredible. I don't want to sit here and start, I didn't think it was a movie, by the way. But if you guys, I don't have any notes. If you look at the history of my dad and what he's ought to offer to this culture, to this custom world, to the brotherhood, it's incredible. And my brother and I, son and Maggie, my granddaughter, are extremely lucky to have had a guy like that in our lives. And I think that all the guys in Sabor would agree with me that this dude wasn't just Angel's dad, wasn't just David's dad. This guy was a homie, this guy was a brother, he was an uncle, he was just a mentor to us all. And I hope that we all carry that tradition and we all strive to be the men that my dad was. So for that, I thank you guys for gathering today, celebrating my pops, honoring him, eating red licorice, drinking beers, having whiskey, doing all the things my dad wanted you guys to do. This is a beautiful crowd. Let's keep on doing what we're doing. And I'm going to carry this tradition for as long as I can. Sabor. They have those white walls, driving that ugly Dodge that you see out there, all that shit. So I love you guys, and thank you guys all for coming together and celebrating the old man. This means a lot, and he's looking down at us right now, and he's smiling ear to ear, making dirty jokes.
I don't have any notes either. I want to thank everybody for coming out here. It's really crazy to see so many people. We expected a lot, but this really fills our hearts to see so many friends, so many families, so many people that are friends that are like family. Just talking to people, just in these last few weeks, so many guys have talked to me and my brother and been like, you know what? Like, he was like a dad to me. Or he was my friend. Like, yeah, Angel's my friend, but Nick was my friend too. Like a good, honest friend to a lot of us. But as a father figure, I have one brother, but then with all of you guys here, a lot of you know who is like, you're also like our brothers too, because he was like such like a dad.
One moment, please.
yeah, a lot of things came natural to us as far as being like a father to us. To even like the first time he learned how to weld in high school, the teacher said, run a bead and then start trying to make it, stack it up so that the bead is just going straight up. So he said, try to make it like an inch tall. So my dad was like, okay, I started welding it. He said, we got it up there and it's like 12 inches, like 3 inches, so we started going sideways, back up, and made like a little tower of welds, right? My teacher came up to him and saw it, and took it away from him. He's like, nobody's ever done that. He's like, I'm gonna put this in the cabinet. So we had it like on display in high school. So you're just so naturally talented at that, right? So he always wanted to just blow people away. He wanted to do things just to, so people would see it and be like, man, that's like cool. Like how did you even dream of something like that? If you guys see the urn, Eddie Padilla, so it was like another mastermind, who, we gave him first Mario, thank you, calculation, you guys will hear about it. He laid down the candy on the urn, and it's just, gold. And we hit up Eddie. Eddie was like, man, I was gonna ask. So we met up with him, and we're handing him the urn. And he's saying, every time I saw your dad at a car show, we would talk for like an hour. You could tell this story if you want, but I'm still in the thing. So he said we would just, sit there and talk for an hour. Eddie ended up working at Valley Bab, where my dad had worked for some time. It was his last job, and George was still here. He loved that job. And he had retired, but he would still go in. He would still go in, like, come to town, we'd start walking through the shop. I'm like, Dad, I don't work here anymore. It's been longer. You don't work here anymore. We're just walking through the main floor. Like, do we need like safety goggles or anything when we do this? He's like, no, let's just walk through, going through parts and stuff. Like, we own the place. He would come by and visit and talk to people there. And Eddie was one of those guys. And the same thing was like at a car show. We'd run into Eddie and they would just end up talking, right? And nobody would give like the employees shit about sitting there and spending time talking to my dad because they knew he was a good influence on me. So Eddie learned a lot. He's talking about that. I ran into the car shows. We talked for like an hour. I said, you know what? He's like a dad to me. And in the last few weeks, if I had like a nickel for every time somebody said that, I was like, wow, okay. So like I have one brother, but I've got a lot of other brothers out here that I'm very grateful for, been able to do that. Hospital and everything, those guys are their place. The urn that Eddie did, so if you look at the urn, it's got the gold from the Dodge, but it has representations of all these other cars plus George's Logo 64 on there. So if you see the patterns on it, there's black, which represents both the GTO and the 54. The GTO is the car that my mom was cruising around when they met. So I always joked around, and it's not true, but I always tell them, you fell in love with that car before you fell in love with me. That wasn't true. Well, then we grew up, he had this blue truck, it was black back then, or when he bought it, it was blue, and we would ride in the bed, it was like, before we see one box and stuff. We grew up around that truck. There's a part in there that's blue to represent that. There's a part in there that represents the Monte Carlo that I did like graphics and worked with Alan Science on. Eddie captured that too. So if you look at the urn, you see there's like a section that has like patterns on it. It's like it's a Mexico right there. And yeah, Loco 64, which he was very proud of. We don't have a picture, but he was super proud of that car. George lived down the street, but we didn't know him for long. My mom knew him from work, and then he came through and was like, hey, I heard about you. I got these wild ideas. My dad was the type that would hear a crazy idea and just say, yeah, let's do it. Whether it's a car, when I got a house, I'm like, cool. And I was off the ceiling, so I'm gonna move this wall. So Loco 64, this car was like a beautiful creation that Rod had painted, beautiful, done paint job. You know, he built a turntable for it, but he came back the next year and he's like, I want to tilt the front end. And he's like, this car's already painted. This is like an immaculate, priceless piece of art. My dad was like, yeah, let's do it. So in the garage, there's Loco 64, a little right of the year, and my dad's out there taking the front end off, making it tip open. He just wanted a blow. So that was like the essence of all the cars that he did. That was like something that really brought energy to it and a lot of notoriety. I was very proud of it, so I felt like we do need to talk about that because that's his, him and my mom, cousins forever. Yeah, our show meant everything to him to see, things were putting together there, and he was super proud. So that's his show. We did it for him. It wasn't for my dad. None of the show existed. Southwell Customs wouldn't exist. So I'm thankful for all of that he's brought and continue to resonate through the community, and so proud of him having so many friends and family that we have here to support us. Love you, Mom. Thank you.
Okay. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, you know what it is, man. Petty Vega Grindhouse. We back up in it, pack up in it, back up in it, pack up in it. 30 plus years, nothing's changed. Two-Face, there is no such thing as father time. We age it like fine wine. It's so sweet and divine. And let us sterilate your mind. We time this like the glass that you put us in the fine wine. Take a sip of percentage and ask me how you manage. It's always shining, it's burning up my chest to the core. So therefore I can't be ignored with the Conan sword. Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'm the predator. My blood is turning Two-Face green. Check my temperature, you ready for the lecture? As I come with the stretcher. Knowledge is the key to everything, so watch your temper. When it comes to the storyteller, I am the treasure. I'm in the laboratory, so please call me Dexter. The music is my pleasure. For 30 years strong, it's Two-Face ghetto ballin' to the heart with golden arms and flyer. We the ravens up in the sky. We ain't gon' stop till I retire.
Just a song before I go, to whom it may concern.
Haters shake the fist, suckers pitching me rolling. Why you so mad? Why you so serious? You're in my rear view like the slow and delirious. Keep on mashing, getting plenty action. The home of the G's and pimps, I love it with a passion. Throw it up, it's California, where the sun lays to rest like every day. The home of the color rack, swap meets and bangers. Chuck Taylor's Lolos and them real dope slangers. This is reality, it's where I stay. Along the Pacific in the state of CA. Golden State, from Frisco to Compton and back to Central Cali where the party keeps rocking. It's a California state of mind, and you can't be mad, that's just how we ride.